It's gonna happen. I know it. I'm just waiting this time. I'm waiting. Hmm, weird. Hey guys, how is everybody doing? And welcome back to my Insidious review series. Now, if you have not seen my thoughts on the first three Insidious movies, go ahead and do yourself a favor and go ahead and go watch that. I'll more than likely have a card at the very end of the video so you can watch all three of them, or maybe I'll have a card up here, or maybe I'm pointing at nothing again. Who knows? I don't know what I do with my life anymore. But today we're on the second prequel of the Insidious franchise with the Insidious: The Last Key. Last one, my ass. Now, I don't even know if this one was made to be the last Insidious movie or if that's just what they title it. Because if this was supposed to be the last one, I can kind of tell, but at the same time, it never really felt that way. Plus, if you have to say the movie's the last one, it's more than likely not, because money's got magical healing powers. And before I do begin with my review on the Insidious: The Last Key, I need to yell at a younger version of myself. I know I can't because that's just not how the world works. But when I first did my Insidious review series, I realized that I never actually talked about this movie. I never actually made a video on the Insidious: The Last Key. I genuinely don't know why. I don't know what happened. I don't know if it's because I ran out of time and I felt like it was too late to do it, or maybe I didn't like the movie that much to where I didn't want to talk about it, or maybe just because I was just lazy and just didn't want to do it. I genuinely don't know why. But hey, redemption! But starting off with my positives on the Insidious: The Last Key, and my first positive of the movie is I'm really glad that we got to learn more about Elise throughout this entire movie, which is played by Lynn Shay. Now, I've kind of had my issues throughout the entirety of these movies, and mainly the first and third movie, where Lynn Shay, I really like her as an actress, and I think the character of Elise is interesting, and I think that she is easily the face and the heart of this franchise, especially since she's now shown up in all of them, especially in the upcoming new one this upcoming weekend. And this has always just been a character that I liked, but I never necessarily loved her at this point because we don't necessarily know a lot about her. Now, we know that she has some sort of gifts and some sort of I don't know, some sort of ability to talk to the dead or see ghosts or whatever. We don't necessarily learn how she was able to just do that. My assumption is that maybe she's just gifted, maybe she was born with it, or whatever. And that's pretty much the explanation that we do get about this movie and how she got her powers. Simply, it's just that she was born with it, it's just a gift that she's had. And since this was during the 50s, where obviously ghosts were kind of a scary thing, people were kind of on the fence about them, and so that kind of has a good social commentary. That and my main thing that I really, really enjoyed about the movie is the opening, like 20-ish minutes, I want to say, like the first 20 minutes of the movie where it shows a young Elise and her father and like how abusive he was towards her about her gift and how supportive the mom was about it and how she was just like, you have a gift, but I need you to keep it safe from your father or whatever. And that opening alone, I think, is the easily the best part about it. Not only one, I think the child actress that plays Elise did an amazing job. I think her performance was absolutely amazing for a kid actress. And two, I just really liked learning about Elise more and diving into her childhood and diving into pretty much what it was like when she first had her gift and what when the early days of having it, I guess I could say. That was some of the best moments, and that was probably the best moment throughout the entire movie, and probably the best sequence out of the entire movie. That is something that I really, really enjoyed, and how even like throughout the entirety of the movie, we kind of learn more about Elise and how how afraid she is of her father and how afraid of her powers that she really is, other than thinking about it as a gift, where she's actually kind of afraid of them, she's afraid of going back home or whatever. This entire movie is the main focus of Elise, and I've kind of made that clear already, but I really, really enjoyed that throughout the entirety of the movie. Not only do we just learn more about her, but we dive into this character to where it makes it more likable and more sympathetic. And since we're still on the topic about Elise, I gotta talk about Lin Shaye. I think Lin Shaye gives off her best performance as this character and in this entire franchise so far, because just the emotional level is what the main thing that this movie is about this character is the emotion. And I think Lin Shaye's performance as Elise throughout this entire movie is easily her best performance that she has given in this franchise and for this character, because like I was talking about earlier, this we learn a lot about this character emotionally, and that's some of the best parts about the movie. And that, and a large part, is because of Lin Shaye's performance. I think on the emotional level, you truly feel for her, and you truly feel so much sympathy for her, and to where it's just heartbreaking to watch. And because like when she goes home and how she's like so you see the emotion on her face and how scared and sad she is because she doesn't think of it as a home. She just thinks of it as a fucking house after all the abuse that she had to go through, unfortunately. I just genuinely think that Lin Shaye gives off the best performance of this franchise. Now, I haven't seen a lot of her work outside of these movies, so maybe she's given off better performances. But Lin Shaye, man, she is just so fucking good in this movie, and I was genuinely shocked as to how much I really enjoyed her in this movie. And this is something that I just really liked about the movie. I thought the main trio of the ghost hunters with Tucker, Lee Winnell's character, I forget his name, and Elise, and those three being the main focus and the main characters and being the main core of this movie, and they're actually, this being their own movie. I really enjoyed that. These are characters that I think are fun whenever they show up. They have like smaller moments and more kind of ghost hunting roles in the other movies compared to actually being fledged out characters, being fun characters. And in this movie, they are the main focus, and I really, really enjoyed that. And Tucker, I love that dude. He is freaking hilarious. I love his deep voice. I think it's just so calming and sexy. Like every time he speaks, it makes me want to get all cuddled up and go to sleep. Like I would listen to his voice going to sleep. That's
Close your eyes. Listen to the ticking. 3, 2, 1.
how much I love his voice. Is that weird? Maybe. Do I care? No, not at all. And even Lee Winnell's character, we kind of have like a little bit of a love interest thing go on in this movie. Now that doesn't go anywhere. Like that, you can get rid of that, and that wouldn't fucking matter. But at least it gives him something to do other than ghost hunting and being awkward all the time. But just seeing these three have their being the main focus and not just side characters and actually being the main focus and kind of fledging out their relationship and learning a little bit more about their characters, I couldn't help but just enjoy that. But now moving on to my mixed aspects. And the one mixed aspect that I do have is there is a lot of awkward comedy. Like there's just comedy in this movie because it's awkward or whatever. Like there's moments like with Lee Winnell's character, but that's the main thing. Now the only reason it's in my mixed aspects is because thankfully it's not throughout the entire movie to where it would be fucking numbingly fucking frustrating. But there are moments throughout this movie to where there's a lot of moments where they try to have some awkward comedy, and I feel like it's forced, and I feel like it doesn't need to be there. It just kind of feels like they were just adding comedy. I feel like when you just have when you just have Lee Winnell and the Tucker character just together, I think their characters just in general are funny, and you didn't need to add unnecessarily enforceable, laughs or comedy. I feel like if you like just kept what you were doing throughout the other three movies, there'd be no difference here, but they just kind of force it. But now moving on to my negatives, and I guess spoilers for people who haven't seen this movie, but this movie's fucking, what, 8 years old now? Something like that, which, if you haven't watched it, it's not my fault, I guess. Like, fucking go watch the movie if you don't want to be spoiled, I guess. But there's this big twist reveal to where the guy at the very beginning of the movie that calls Elise, that calls the characters or whatever, he calls and is like, "Oh, I need help haunting." Blah, blah, blah. So, same fucking shit we've seen throughout the entirety of these movies. And they show up and they're doing the investigation, but then they find out the girl that they've been seeing is actually a real person and is actually being kept under his basement, and they never really explain why. And then we find out that this girl's been missing for 4 months.
Bro, what are you talking about, man?
Okay, one, I feel like that twist genuinely came out of fucking nowhere, and it was just like, well, he was seeing a ghost, but really they were talking about her this whole time. And I feel like that just made it fucking confusing in and of its own. And then outside of that, we also learn that Elise's father is not only a piece of shit because he was an abusive father, but he was kidnapping young girls and keeping them in the basement and beat one of them to death. And that's one of the spirits that Elise has been seeing the whole time. And that was one of the spirits that she was seeing in her house the whole time when she was a kid. And not only that, there were moments where Elise actually saw one of the little girls that was still being captive in the basement or whatever, but she thought it was a ghost because her father made her think that. Something like that. And I don't know, it's confusing as fuck.
Ah! I can't take it anymore! Ah!
I feel like those reveals are just out of nowhere. And I don't think they needed to be there. Like, I was just like, okay, that's fucking weird. And also, if one of them was actually not a ghost and a real person that you were seeing the whole time when you were a kid, wouldn't that mean that you would have some sort of doubt that maybe you haven't seen ghosts since you were a kid and maybe this was just a whole psychological thing and maybe you're fucking nuts, who knows? And if you got older and you were telling people that you can help them with their spirits, but then in real life that you couldn't because they were real people that you were actually seeing and not ghosts? Ow! Oh, God. You just raise so much confusion and the issue that I have with all of it is that this is supposed to be a prequel. This takes place like a couple weeks, maybe a month before the Lambert family incident, or technically it kind of takes place during it. It just takes place like a little bit beforehand, I guess. But this is supposed to be a prequel. You're supposed to be answering questions. But throughout this movie, the entire time I was watching it, I ended up having more questions than answers. I don't know. And for my final negative, and if anything, this is kind of a nitpick, is the big threat that we have in this movie is that big key monster. I think the idea of the monster is pretty cool. I like the sequences where he like shoves a key down their throat and like twists it, like locks their voice and like so where they can't scream or make any noise. I think that is fucking terrifying and I think that's really cool. But my issue is that you don't see the thing until like 40 until there's 40 minutes left of the movie. Like this whole investigation thing with this dude going on. We find the girl in the basement, which apparently that was the main focus after all. And then we don't see the actual big threat until 40 minutes left in the movie. And where my issue comes in is that Lynn Shay, Elise, has been alluding to this whole fucking time that this is the biggest threat that she's ever faced and that this is the biggest threat that she's ever brought into this world. But it doesn't feel that way. It feels just like another generic monster that Elise is there to stop. And it doesn't help when you don't see the damn thing until 40 minutes later. And hell, you don't even get a good look at the thing because it's always hiding in the fucking dark and you can't see the thing.
I can't see fucking shit out of this thing.
So, not only do you just waste the concept of not seeing it throughout the entire movie, but you also waste the concept of also the design of when you do see it. The thing looks like a generic ass thing we've seen throughout this movie. The only cool thing is about the keys. It could have just been a giant key. I don't know. Overall, guys, I don't mind Insidious The Last Key. I actually see a lot of people saying that this movie is terrible and how they don't like this movie at all, which I would have loved to see the movie that you guys saw, but I don't hate this movie. I actually think it's a pretty enjoyable little prequel, and I think it's I do think it's a solid installment in this Insidious franchise. I don't think it's terrible by any means. I don't think any of these movies are bad, but I just think it's okay. But what do you guys think about Insidious The Last Key? Have you seen it? What do you think about it? Do you like this movie? Do you not like this movie? Is this one of your favorites of the franchise? Is this one of your least favorites of the franchise? Do you think that this is actually a very good prequel? Let me know in the comments below and we shall talk about it. And if you like this video, like it. If you love to subscribe to notifications so you will get notified for all of my latest videos. And of course, until my next video, I'll see you all next time.